I'm going to go ahead and let you all know right now that as executive producer of this episode today is going to talk about Raw and SmackDown, but it's going to go a little off the rails because I kind of just felt like talking about wrestling today. And so, I checked with the guy behind the camera, which is me, and he said it was all good. So, welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeener. I'm going to start this off by saying this, and it was the last thing that you and I spoke about on last week, and we texted about it a little bit. So,
okay, wondering where you were going here.
The clickbait is real.
Mm-hmm.
The clickbait is real, and I feel like Stevie Richards is to blame here. I blame his co-host, but I blame him more because
his name's on it. That's
because
for sure.
Your name is on it,
and his face is
your
right
face
there
is
in it.
all over it. Right? You are the one who has the final say, I think, in what airs from your channel. And if you're not aware of what Skeener and I are talking about, last week, Mr. Stevie Richards put out a video, and I don't remember exactly what the video is titled, but it's essentially has WWE
already ruined Sol Ruka.
Sol Ruka. And I watched this video, and then I reached out to Skeener and I said, "Hey man, go ahead and watch this video because it's absolutely not what you think it is." And it's exactly what we were saying it was. And arguably that's worse.
That's way worse.
Arguably it's worse. Because they are talking essentially about the Soul Snatcher. And they're essentially talking about the Soul Snatcher and how the difficulty in setting up that move is, I don't know, somehow ruining Sol Ruka because that move has been it's been botched once or twice, and the setup for it is a little bit contrived. And these are things that Skeener and I talked about on last week's episode, but we weren't saying in any way that was a ruination of Sol Ruka. Just the fact that, hey, maybe that move has got an awkward setup, and at some point she may need to move away from that. Just because it probably doesn't have a long shelf life.
I thought the way they got to it on Raw was interesting. I didn't see it coming as much until it happened. So
yeah, no, and now she wrestled Lyra.
Yes, she and Lyra went. Sol was in the ropes, and Lyra went to kick her, and Sol moved, and Lyra got her foot tangled up in the ropes, and I thought that was a good way. I hadn't seen that before. I didn't know the move was coming like I normally do. So
now I will say this: I didn't even see. I had to catch the foot being caught in the ropes in the replay because I heard him talking about it. I didn't catch it right away, and then I watched the replay and I was like, "Oh, her foot did kind of get caught in the rope." Now I will say this: I do think WWE is either going to have to dig really deep into the well to try and keep it creative regarding how they set that move up, and I do feel like, as stated last week, that they are going to have to figure something out with regards to the Soul Snatcher, just in its setup and its execution, or move away from it. Give her something else cool that she can do, or let her develop something else cool, because the Soul Snatcher is absolutely impressive, but the setup is a bit much. And it requires a lot of coordination on both parties. And if somebody misses a step or somebody's timing is a little bit off, then the move doesn't work as intended. Do I think, however, this has ruined Sol Ruka already? Absolutely not. The woman can wrestle, and the crowd loves her, and they don't love her just because of the Soul Snatcher. So, Stevie Richards, man, I would expect better of you. Maybe not your co-host, but I would expect better of you. But, I say all that without getting to the most important part of the introduction, which is me inquiring on how you are doing, Skeener. How's it going, brother?
Pretty good, can't lie. Yeah, nothing special, but I'm here. Happy to have made it another week to the next episode of the Lariat Lounge and to sit here and talk wrestling with you. So
true.
There you go. How about you, brother?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. It's been a very eventful week at work. Good week. but very eventful week. And it's currently hot as hell over here right now.
Is
Like,
it?
yeah, I think well, it's hotter than it should feel. I think it's like in the low 90s.
Ooh.
Um, it's in the low 90s, but it feels hotter than that. Like the ride home from work today was painful. Uh, no AC in the car. Like it was painful. And I got upstairs to go get set up early because I had a conference call I had to get on after I got home. But I came up here to get set up, and looks like we're frozen. Oh, there we go. I came
Yeah.
home to get set up, and I came upstairs, and it's freaking sweltering up here. Like the AC just cannot work hard enough upstairs in the summertime with the summertime heat. And so it's pumping away, but it's still hot up here. So I'm doing fine. I'm glad to be in here because it's better in here despite the heat than it is in that freaking car. That was god awful. But I'm glad that you all are here. I'm glad that you all are listening. I've got some coworkers of mine who apparently have checked out the podcast. And they apparently like what it is they heard. A lot of conversations I've been having, Skeeter, around or not around, but conversations I've been having with old school wrestling fans, people who kind of stopped watching wrestling around the Attitude Era, older than me, but were fans of the wrestling during like the NWA into early WCW and had a relationship with wrestling around like the WWF, WCW, Monday Night Wars era. You know what I'm saying? And had some really great conversations about favorite wrestlers and wrestlers that I disliked the most, which on their face, these are questions that I normally wouldn't ask myself, right? Because the way I approach wrestling, there's not really characters that like I hate and wrestlers that are like my favorite. I've kind of moved past that a little bit, but this is not to disregard the question. It's just questions that I haven't asked myself in forever and a day. And so when these questions were put to me, my man is asking me, he's like, so who's like your favorite wrestler, like of all time? And, you all will never be privy to the special episode that Skeeter and I recorded because the audio was completely corrupted. But if you were able to hear that, you would have heard that my answer was Triple H when it came to his entrance. We were talking about the entrances then. But when I answered that question at work, Skeeter, I think my answer was also Triple H. And it was fueled by the conversation that we had. And I'm going to go ahead and let you all know right now that as executive producer of this show, this episode today is going to talk about Raw and SmackDown, but it's going to go a little off the rails because I kind of
Here
just
we
felt
go.
like talking about wrestling today. And so, I checked with the guy behind the camera, which is me, and he said it was all good. So, yeah. So I think my favorite wrestler of all time, Skeeter, if I've really had to break it down past nostalgia, and this was part of the conversation that I was having with my man at work, right? And when he asked me that question, I thought about firstly, I haven't asked myself that question in a very long time. Just simply, who's your favorite wrestler? And so then I went through a gamut of different feelings, right? I went through wrestlers that I respected. And then I was like, no, but like, who's my favorite though? And then I thought about who hit me in the nostalgia feels. But then I was like, but are they my favorite? Like, what is the criteria for your favorite wrestler, right? So I want to ask you that question before we start getting into this conversation, right? What would you establish criteria wise if you were trying to denote who your favorite wrestler was?
I don't think I'd put criteria on it. I think
Okay.
that's where you're maybe leading yourself astray
Okay.
to trying to be too objective with the criteria and add up the numbers of who puts how many and what column. And
Sure.
I just think you just know it. You know your answer or you don't.
Mm.
I.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And here's the reason why I broke it down the way I did, right? My initial answer was Randy Savage, right?
Okay.
And I told him that, and then I kind of walked it back. Not because I don't love Randy Savage, but I started thinking to myself, like, what is it that I love about Randy Savage? Right? There's a lot of things I love about Randy Savage. I love the character, right? I love the angle with Miss Elizabeth. I think that's one of the best angles that's ever been run in pro wrestling, right? But I also remember that was also, he was a part of like the very first match I think I ever watched ever. I was at my grandmother's house and he was wrestling. Ironically, I think it was on like a Saturday night main event back when it was like a
Mm-hmm.
normal show,
Yeah.
and he was wrestling. I can't remember who he was wrestling, but he was wrestling on it. And I think it was the first time I had ever got exposed to pro wrestling. And so you see freaking Macho Man, you know what I'm saying? And it's like he was the most eccentric character I think
Mm-hmm.
I'd ever seen in my life at the time. And he was just imprinted on me. You know what I mean? And then it's like
Yeah.
growing up through the years and just seeing Macho grow and all these things. I genuinely liked him. But then I started thinking, okay, aside from the nostalgia though, right? Like, is it really Macho Man that's your favorite? And then I just started thinking about some of the things we were talking about when regards to like the entrance, right? And I just remember how when we started talking about who our favorite entrances were. And then I remember thinking like all the feels that I've gotten over the years watching Triple H do his thing in pro
Mm-hmm.
wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Just from his entrance to his presence in the ring, his ring acclimate, I thought is just really great. And that's not to harp on like stats, but it's just like, I think he's just great in the ring. He does everything really well. And he's had some of my favorite matches ever. And Degeneration X was absolutely a part of my teenage years. You know what I mean? Like growing up through wrestling. And he's been one of my favorites for way longer than Macho, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? So I think I answered that question correctly when I talked to him. I think it's Triple H. I think he just has hit every box for me with regards to what it means to me as a wrestling fan and what it means to be a pro wrestler. And I genuinely adore his career. I think it was incredible. But for you, Skeeter, who is your favorite wrestler? I think I know the answer, but I want the fans to know what this answer is.
My answer has been for a while, and I don't see it changing. Maybe, but Shawn Michaels
Yeah.
is my favorite. Just captivating. Obviously, was exposed to him in his first WWF run as a kid in the Attitude Era. So I got kind of my first exposure was like Degeneration X Shawn Michaels,
Yeah.
and then his career ending, and then I get out of wrestling for a few years and I come back and here's Shawn Michaels back still in his second run and arguably another one of the greatest careers of all time, his second career.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just every time he was on my screen, just captivated.
Yeah.
In kind of the just I don't know, there was just that connection there with that character and him as a performer, and I can't really put it into any special words. I mean, people are going to say like, look, he's one of the greatest in the ring of all time, like he is, but the connection was just there, and every time he was on the screen, I was rooting for him to win.
Yeah.
Like regardless of anything else, like want Shawn Michaels to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a couple that are like right there, close seconds. I mean, Eddie Guerrero is up there
Yeah.
in the same way. Like just what a charismatic performer, always delivered no matter what he was in. As especially in his like, I loved all his later WWE stuff up to his unfortunate early death. Like
Yeah.
all that stuff was so good. Like that was right when I was getting back into wrestling. Was right after his title run. So I have everything with, I have him and Booker T going at it. I have him and JBL.
Yeah.
Uh, of course, the Eddie and Ray series, and then Eddie, a little bit of, we got Eddie and Batista. Like all that stuff was so good.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we'll talk about it a lot. I would be remiss to think Roman is not getting close,
Okay.
like especially with this stuff. And then for the nostalgia reasons, Goldberg is right there. Like as a kid, just growing up being, 5 to 7 years old in that Goldberg run was
Sure.
just I mean, that's a connection. Like that is, yeah, definitely boredom nostalgia. But I will always appreciate that,
Yeah.
and just that was the absolute coolest thing to me as a kid was Goldberg does his entrance, he beats someone up in a minute, spear, jackhammer. We'll catch you next Nitro. Like that was peak for me.
Yeah. So it's interesting because when you were talking about Sean, which that's
Hmm.
I absolutely I knew you were gonna say, but you were talking about how like whenever he was on the screen, you were always pulling for him to win, right?
Hmm.
It's interesting because I was thinking about that and I was like, when I watched Trips wrestle, did I always pull for him to win? And the answer was no. And I was questioning that, and I was like, you know why? I think it's because Triple H plays an incredible face. He makes for an even better heel. And I feel like when wrestling is done right, you adhere as a fan to that little social contract that we always harken back to, right? Where if the show is done well, we cheer for the good guys, we boo the bad guys, right? We want the story to play out in a way that uh that fits the narrative that they're trying to tell. So when Triple H is wrestling Seth Rollins, for instance, right? Seth Rollins is trying to be the Kingslayer, right? They told that story really well, in my opinion. And so when I'm watching this story, no, I do not want Triple H to win. You know what I mean? I don't want him to win because he's not supposed to win here. The good guy is supposed to win in this story. And Triple H played that role to perfection. You know what I mean? And that's why I love that. Now there is a wrestler, because you went through a little pantheon of your faves. There is a wrestler though that I remember being young and having that feeling like, yo, every time he's on my screen, I want him to win. And that was Sting.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's the same one as me
Yeah.
when I was young because we talked a little bit about it. But yeah, like Sting was my first favorite wrestler.
Yes. Yes.
And if you see Sting as a kid, regardless of what era, like you see that face paint and that guy, like that's some cool shit.
That's a cool ass dude. That's a
So
cool
yeah,
dude.
I'm with you there.
I wonder if it's face paint too. Because as a kid, those types of things
Probably.
really
Yeah.
ring with you, right? Like I can't think of many characters who I did not find interesting. They may not be my favorites, but if they had face paint on, right? Whether you were
Yeah.
like the Great Muda, or if you
Hmm.
were Demolition, or if you were the Road Warriors, or Sting, or the Warrior, right? Like if you had face paint, you were my dude. Like the
Yeah.
Warrior and Sting were right there for me as like two. That was probably like my early favorite was like the Ultimate Warrior. Like he was just so energetic. His music always lit me up. It still does to this day. Um, and he just run to the ring. He would circle the ring, shaking the ropes. I used to love that, despite the fact that this dude had the worst like 3 or 4 moves of doom. Like you talk about Cena and his like 5 moves of doom. Like one of the things my buddy asked me at work was like, what was like the worst finisher that I can remember? And I honestly think I'm not gonna drop his name because I respect people's privacy. But I think my man is a genuine fan. I think he loves wrestling, right? And I think that he
You're
has
gonna say the wrestler. I thought you were,
oh
I thought you were like, I'm not gonna say the wrestler's name, but
oh no, I'm
no.
not gonna say my homeboy's name from work,
Yeah,
but like
gotcha.
I think he's a genuine fan of wrestling and from back in the day. And I was trying to talk him into giving wrestling another go, right?
Hmm.
And I know that he loves heels. He loves great heels. So I was kind of diving into his brain a
Worst
little bit.
finisher.
And I
Yeah.
was like, what are like some of your favorite, favorite aspects of heels? And he was like, they got to be like this, that, and they have to have like a great finisher. So then he asked me like about finishers because he's going into wrestling stuff now, and I'm just letting him go because I'm loving this conversation. And he's
Mm-hmm.
asked me like, so what was like the worst finisher that you could think of? And the first thing that came to my mind after he said his worst finisher was Hogan's leg drop, right? I was like, I think honestly the worst finisher was the Ultimate Warrior, like the Ultimate Splash.
Not a good one. Yeah.
Like it served its purpose, right? But like, I mean, come on. Like it's just a body splash. It's not even that devastating. But it was his finisher. He used it for a long time. And I genuinely think it was probably the worst finisher I could think of. But do you have like a worst finisher that comes to mind before we talk about what we thought the best finisher was?
It's got to be that weird thing that MVP used to do that like Randy Orton started out with. I think it's called the overdrive,
Okay, the name.
where you like it's so weird. Like I can't even explain it. Like you kind of like put your leg over their head and then you like take their arms and then throw their face into the mat. It's really bad. It just doesn't look good.
Is it like the rose plant?
Sort of. In a way, yes.
That's what I'm thinking about. Like I'm thinking about because that look, I love you, Bailey, but that's not a great finisher either. That's not a great finisher. Rose plant is not great. But no, I think I know what you're talking about. I feel like I saw it in the finisher list on 2K26 the other day when I was creating a wrestler.
Oh yeah, it'll be called the overdrive.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
It's not good.
No, it's if it's what I'm thinking, it's not great. But what do you think was like the best finisher or your favorite finisher? That's the better question. Your favorite finisher.
It's gonna be taken right from my favorite wrestler list.
Okay.
You're gonna have the Sweet Chin Music just because that was even before the RKO was coming out of nowhere. The Sweet Chin Music was coming out of nowhere.
This is
And
true.
he could hit it on anyone at any time, and just the way Sean did that kick and how he always was slapping the leg perfectly, like it was great.
Yeah.
And then the other one, for nostalgia reasons, is going to be the jackhammer.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I just thought that was so cool as a kid. I still do, like picking them up in the suplex, holding them if you can, and then the power of just
The power
coming
slam
over with
finish.
the arm. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good one.
I mean, and there are a ton more, but like, I think if I don't give you the ones that come to mind immediately when you ask the question, then I'm not being genuine with it.
You know what? That's fair because I think for me, my favorite finisher all around is the sharpshooter.
Okay.
I think
And or the Scorpion Deathlock.
or the Scorpion Deathlock, right? I love that finisher because for some reason the struggle of a submission to me is it almost rings real. You know what I'm saying? Like it almost rings real because sometimes even though I have a wrestling mind, right, and I accept the kayfabe, right? There's something about the idea of putting someone in a hold that, like, if you just change the grip position, you could actually be hurting someone. You know what I mean? So the idea that they would submit because they just can't take the pain, right? It's why I love the sharpshooter. It's why I love the figure four. It's why I always love the freaking sleeper. The sleeper used to be my favorite finisher. Like it didn't matter
Really?
who did it. Yeah, I used to love the sleeper hold. And it's just like make them go to sleep, dog. And just make them tap out or make them pass out. And you make it work. But I think the sharpshooter specifically, because WWF did a really great job of painting Bret Hart as the excellence of execution, right? Maybe he was boring, right? But he was portrayed as this ring technician whose moves were crisp. Nobody was going to put a hold on a suplex thrown better than Bret. And so when Bret would put you in the sharpshooter, which by the way, awesome name for a finisher, right?
Mhm.
And with your moniker being the hitman and your finisher's the sharpshooter, that it worked. And then when he put people in the sharpshooter, I will never get the image of Austin in the sharpshooter bleeding from the face, you know what I'm saying, out of my mind. And Austin, for as tough as he is, and for as much credit as you give him for not tapping, passing out still means you lose. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you can hold on if you want to, but if you pass out, you're still going to go down. And I love that about that finisher. And I think WWF just sold it in a way that WCW didn't sell the Scorpion Deathlock, which they did, but it just didn't sell it the same way. And because of that, I always felt like the sharpshooter. And I took what you said, which is like, if it's not the first thing that comes to your brain, it might be a bit disingenuous. And the first thing that came to my brain was not the Scorpion Deathlock, it was the sharpshooter.
But you know who else did a hell of a sharpshooter?
Who's that?
Shawn Michaels.
He did.
1 for 1, baby.
He did.
So good. Bret gave up immediately.
Yeah. Vince
right
made
away.
sure of that. Vince made sure of that.
I saw the hold go on. I saw the bell ring.
Yeah, I saw Vince call for it too. And they didn't capture. Hey, listen, what a botch. I mean, we're talking about a botch spot, right? You didn't cut away. You didn't cut away enough to catch Vince not call for the bell, right? And I listen, maybe it's better that they didn't, because I think that if you didn't have that there and it kind of almost got worked more as an angle, which is what they tried to do initially, I don't think it would have flown as well as it did. When, not as well as it did, but the Montreal Screwjob is just such a historical event in pro wrestling. And this was back before the days of social media. So if you didn't catch Vince on camera doing that, I don't think it would have caught on with people as much as it did. But you saw it, and then when the story came out behind it, and then you see Vince do it, it lends credibility to, to Britt's claims that like the match wasn't supposed to go like that. And Vince called it because his whole backstory of his contract expiring, not wanting the title to go to another brand, even though that wasn't Brett's intention to do that, but you pulled the trigger anyway. And I mean, what a story. What a story that is. What a story that is. And it always gets me too, like Vince goes to the back and lets Britt get like a free shot on him.
Yeah, who was it? He said he's gonna want to hit me, and like you just let him.
You just let him do it. You let him do it.
God, what did you? What? Gotta love Vince.
Listen, I will admit, I think that is a square deal move. I mean, listen, first of all, you really did screw him over. You really did screw him over in front of his countrymen, right? And his only ask was to not drop the title to Shawn in Canada. I'll drop it the next night, but your desire to not have that championship potentially go the way of Hall and Nash or Alundra Blaze specifically.
Did you imagine the Lariat Lounge episode post Montreal Screwjob?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
And me just acknowledging our heartbreak kid. I would have been so happy.
You would have been so insufferable. Like
that's what I'm just thinking about. Yeah,
you would have been so insufferable.
And I've been doing my Shawn dance and
dude. And I'm trying to imagine what that would be like, because we wouldn't have had social media to break it. So it would have been just us talking about it in the scope of what we saw on our television sets.
You don't think we'd have been well? It may the latest issue of the Observer may have not made it to our houses.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We might not have gotten the Wrestling Observer just yet. We probably had to wait.
Had to wait for the newsletter to get delivered. Yeah,
man, what were the wrestling magazines back there? Not back then. Like I never got them.
Like, I mean, so I didn't when I was a kid, but like when I was coming back as a fan, like, I'd see the magazines like at the grocery store or at wherever you are where there was a magazine rack, and I'd buy them.
Yeah.
But it was which magazine was it that did? I think it may have been Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Did fake interviews with the wrestlers like in character.
What?
But I like wasn't old enough to understand what the heck was going on. Yeah. Like I knew wrestling was not real. Like I knew it was not a shoot contest.
Yeah.
But I'd also be like, wait, what's going on? Like, is he actually interviewing Shawn Michaels? And like, is Shawn actually talking like this? But then come to find out later, like, no, these are just like the writer making up the interview. Like he didn't actually talk to Shawn Michaels. He's just creating questions and answers as if he's asking the character this.
So yeah, okay. Oh, that's what I was thinking about. What you just said, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I didn't realize that's what it was called.
I would see that, and then of course you had like the Raw and SmackDown magazines would come out.
The Wrestler.
Then, yeah, there were others, but I'd buy them occasionally. Like I said, when I'd see them on the magazine rack and stuff. But
yeah, my mom would. Man,
I wish I could come across. So my mom wouldn't, but my dad would. So pros of divorced parents there. Like my mom was anti-wrestling, and my dad would like take me to wrestling events and stuff. So it was pretty fun. So
that's the one thing I regret. Like I try not to live with a lot of regrets.
Yeah.
But I regret not having wrestling events in my childhood. As an adult, I could have more wrestling events in my life, but in the year of our Lord 2026, wrestling events are expensive. And
They are.
you know what I mean? And though the WWE is bringing back some of their live events that are not Raw and SmackDown and PLEs and stuff like that, they're very sporadic. When they announce them in blocks, right? And those
Mm.
tickets are also not cheap and they may not be close by. And as an adult, you have bills and a job and you know what I'm saying? And it's like you can't always just kind of take off and do these things. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to put these things into a schedule for me that would make fiscal
Yeah.
sense. Financial time wise, it's difficult to plug in, but I wish back in the day I could have taken advantage of that. My boy at work had a similar experience to you, and he's older than both of us, but
Mm-hmm.
he remembers when like the territories were still doing shows. The late territory days before WCW got their TV deal and really started eating up a lot of the smaller territories.
Mm.
He remembers going to like territory shows and then
Oh, that's
checking out
cool.
like early WCW shows and just when they were around and tickets were cheap. And I was like, that's sweet, dude. That's something I wish I
Yeah.
had in my memory.
So I don't have great memories of it just because of how young I was, but I know when I was 5 and 6 years old, WCW did both. They did a Nitro and a pay-per-view from Charleston, West Virginia,
Yeah.
where I grew up, where I was born and grew up, and that was pretty cool to be able to experience. I remember the incredulity and disappointment when I got to that Nitro and I was like, "Oh, they're not playing the announcers like over the loudspeaker."
Oh, the reality
Because
of
like, what would you think about that? Like as a kid, because like all you know is wrestling's on TV and there's
absolutely.
always
Yes.
announcers, and you get
Yes.
there and I'm like, I can't hear them. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to do
Yes.
this? But I mean, obviously, you get over it. But I just remember that being a big shock for me when I first got there.
Of course it would be. As a kid, of course it would be, right? But like as an adult, the product is shaped by its media presentation.
Is though there is a weird thing. So like when I started going to shows and really became like, I guess I would say my third run as a fan. So
Okay.
like we get the little kid run, and then I like lose interest as a kid, and I come back October 2004 during the build to No Mercy.
Okay.
I remember, I will never forget that. And then I watched from like 2004 through like early 2008, and then like do late high school and figure out you lose interest and stuff. And then I came back again the week before the pipe bomb in 2011,
Okay.
and have been watching steadily ever since. But
Yeah.
like the beginning of my third run, I remember the first Raw I went to. There, I promise this is where it relates. When it gets back into it, they had this thing at WWE shows. Like if you went to a Raw, you could buy a little earpiece and you would like hear the commentators
Oh,
while
that's
you were
kind of
there.
sweet.
Yeah, I never
That's
did
kind of
it, but I
sweet.
thought that was cool that they did that.
That
And it's funny that like I had that as a kid and I remembered, I'm like, see, where was that when I was a kid?
that's kind of sweet. You know, I remember. So first of all, I'm glad that you have these locked in stone time markers for yourself of like
Absolutely,
these
yeah.
eras of wrestling. I've never stopped watching, so it's all one big blur to me. Like it all
Yeah.
runs together. So I couldn't. I'm already bad with like dates and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So if you're trying to get me to pinpoint stuff from professional wrestling and the time I've been watching, good luck, brother. Like that's a hard pull for me. But I will say this: I remember when we went to 40 and night one. So a little WWE Lariat Lounge before Lariat Lounge days. Skeeter and I met over another pro wrestling podcast, Ring Rust Radio, and that's how we met each other. And the first time we met in person was at WrestleMania 40 when Ring Rust had a meetup to go to WrestleMania 40.
In the
And
parking lot before NXT eating cheesesteaks out of Donald Wood's trunk.
Oh yeah, yes,
Those were good
yes.
cheesesteaks, man.
They were good, and
I ate so many of those.
listen, I am truly thankful to have had that moment, that memory to kind of just hang out and meet everyone and stuff like that. I genuinely cherish it. And yes, we were in Philly and the cheesesteaks were great.
They were, can't lie.
They were great. I remember myself and James Dick went
Oh
to
yeah, Jimmy.
we went to one of like Philly's famous cheesesteak spots
Oh, did you?
before night 2, and we rode around looking for the spot, and we found it, and I think I had like a chicken Philly. Oh my gosh, brother, incredible, incredible cheesesteak. I mean, it was something. It's not actually it's not cheesesteak. It's like a chicken Philly, but
Yeah.
it was incredible. And I wanted to get that because according to the guy I asked there, right? Every time I travel somewhere, right? I always ask somebody, what do the locals get? You know what I'm saying? Because the fan in me would come to Philly and be like, oh, I want the cheesesteak. I want to get it from Gino's or go to the other place and get, you know what I mean? But I was like, hey man, what do y'all eat? What do y'all get around here? He was like, yo, try the chicken Philly. I was like, all right, I'll try the chicken Philly. Top notch. Top freaking notch. But yes, those cheesesteaks out of the back of Donald Wood's van were absolutely great. And part of that
I
was
don't
just the
remember the place
experience.
we picked it up from. Cause I had went, cause I got there and I took my rental car and drove to Donnie's house to like help him go pick up stuff.
Okay.
And we were going everywhere picking up stuff, and I forget the name of the place he picked them up from, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the one thing I did regret. I did regret not seeing Donnie's house because I heard so
You
much
see where the
about
magic is made.
I want to see where the sausage is made, right? He always talks about recording in that freaking small ass little attic.
It really is small, and like if he rolled his chair too far back, he would fall
Down the
backwards down
stairs.
the stairs to
And
his
that's what I
death.
always
Yeah,
heard, right? You fall
it's
backwards down the
true.
stairs.
It's true.
And so I regretted not being able to see that. But you know, all in all, that was such a great experience. But the story I was telling, right, was that on night 1, we're in the skybox, right, that we all purchased, which by the way, that was just a once in a lifetime experience. I don't think I'll ever be able to go to see another wrestling event like that ever again. But that was amazing. The first night, there was an insistence on leaving the freaking window open in that skybox. I championed very hard to close that window on night 1, and I was outnumbered.
I would have never let that happen.
I,
We're not closing the window.
wait, hold on.
We're at WrestleMania.
Hold on. You would have never let closing the window.
No,
Dude,
we're not closing the window.
It was so cold.
You'll be
so
warm. You can heat up
cold.
after.
Oh my gosh.
WrestleMania, brother.
Hey, listen, let me tell you guys something. I'm not going to incriminate myself because people at my job now listen to this podcast. But listen, if it wasn't for Donnie and the special favors that he brought, night 1 would have been miserable. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the event. I loved the event because the main event of night 1 was one of my favorite matches ever. But it was so flippin' cold. But the point of the story,
it was a little chilly, but you got to battle through it for WrestleMania.
And I did because there was no other recourse. We weren't closing the window. Nobody wanted to do it.
This is fair.
So the point of the story is the first night we were up there, the TVs in the suite were not on. And I don't know if this was just bad preparation by the stadium for their guest who bought out the whole skybox both nights, but you didn't do it. You didn't turn everything on. And so we got up there, the TVs weren't on, there were no menus for us to order food, even though you could. And we watched the event and it was great. I had to learn to appreciate what that experience was like when I didn't hear the announcers. And I'd done it before when I gone to SmackDown, so I wasn't completely foreign, right? But it was something about watching night 1 and not hearing the commentary and stuff like that, aside from what they spoke on over the microphones in the ring. But night 2, the TVs were on. The TVs were on. The surround sound in the suite was on. The menus were there. Food wasn't that great. And it changed the entire experience. Being able to look out of the window, see what was happening, and hear the commentary through the PA changed the whole experience for me.
Yeah, it was so that the WrestleMania, like I've been lucky enough to go to plenty of like Raws and SmackDowns and live events and PLEs over the years, which is always a great experience. But that WrestleMania was so different because of where we were, like in that box. And for anyone that's listening that knows, like this is an NFL stadium. If you're familiar with it, like between the lower and upper deck, there's usually the club level and then a row of suites, like in the dead middle of the stadium. But when you think about what we were doing, which is from one of those boxes on the ring of the stadium, we're watching the wrestling occurring in a ring in the dead center of where the football field would be, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And we're watching, and there's like 2 to 6 people at a time in the match. So it's real far away. It's hard to it was hard to appreciate the actual moment to moment wrestling from there, but like you were there for the experience. If you were trying to watch the match, we were watching the match on the jumbotron outside, essentially.
Yes.
Is what I was doing if I was trying to figure out what was going on.
Yep.
Like actually in the match, like move for move, but I wouldn't change it. It's just that was such a different experience.
Oh, absolutely. It was an experience. And I will say this, I thought about that too, right? The first night, I really embraced the experience because like you said, and it's the God honest truth, everything was so small from a distance. You're so far away.
There's no way.
There's no way, right? And without the commentary, right, it's hard to tell oftentimes what's going on. But that first night, I just kind of soaked in the experience, right? One, meeting all these people that showed up for this suite that I have talked to over months and some people over years, right? Over this podcast and never met them in person, putting faces to names and just kind of knowing that, oh man, I'm sitting right here and I'm
we
talking.
pretty much just existed as voices on monthly Zoom calls to each other.
Monthly Zoom calls. Yes. I mean, and some of you guys that had been listening to Ring Rust were listening before I started listening and interacting before I started listening.
When did you start listening?
It's been a long time, but it's been a long time.
I know it was right after WrestleMania 30 for me.
Okay.
Actually, no, it was before. So I think it was like September 2012 was when I did.
I'm trying to think, when did I start actually listening to Ring Rust?
No, I was right. It was right after WrestleMania 30. I'm getting my years confused because I know it was before I met my wife. So that was late August 2013, but it was after 30. I think it was the WrestleMania 30 recap episode is when I started listening.
So I know that I had started listening to Ring Rust before I met my wife, and she and I met. Wait, when did you meet your wife? What year?
Our senior year of undergrad. So that's August 2013.
Okay, I met my wife in 20. I think it was 2013.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
I think I met her in 2013 as well. I know because I was in my car accident in 2013, and we were together during that car accident. I don't think we met in 2012. I don't know. I have to do the math before I talk to her. But yeah, I think it was right around that time. But I had been watching or listening to their podcast before I met her.
We were probably around the same time.
We were probably right.
And then
I don't
know when I joined and started doing the calls and stuff. Yeah,
I remember the first time
probably
I interacted.
2015 or 2016 ish.
When were they doing? They started doing that that app. I think Donnie and BG were doing that app where it's like you could interact with them through this app.
Yeah, I
or
never
something
did
like
that. Though.
That was the first time I interacted with them. Was during that app. I reached out. I remember I was at my parents' house at the time, and I was listening to the podcast. They were doing that thing, and I went and interacted with the app.
Yeah, what was that thing?
I cannot remember the name of it. Freaking app.
I don't know.
But it was some little app they were using to kind of interact with folks. And I did that. Then that was the first time I interacted. But, I'm talking to people who, I'm sitting next to people in this suite that I have been talking to or around for years at this point. and I was just enjoying that experience. And dude, if you've never been to WrestleMania, it is so much bigger than you think. Like, it is
Mhm.
such a grand event. And I didn't take many pictures when I was there. I took pictures when we were outside. Some, you know what I'm saying? We were going in because I wanted to catch how big the crowd was. And some pictures with me and Jimmy were around Philly. And I took some pictures when we were at Donnie's van hanging out. But I didn't take a lot of pictures because I was really soaking in the experience, right? I really wanted to be present. And I remember there's one picture that I took of from the suite of WrestleMania night 1. And I didn't realize that I had held the button down when I was taking a picture, so it did like a little short video.
Yeah.
And I watched it back when I was sending the pictures to Donnie because he did remember he did that recap little video thing of WrestleMania 40.
Mhm.
And I sent him a ton of pictures of stuff I took, and I didn't realize that was a video. And so I looked at it, and I just remember seeing like all the lights and the stage, and it was all
Yeah.
moving. And I was like, oh, man, this is such a big production. It's so massive.
Mhm.
And the first night, I just absorbed it. The second night, I felt like I was watching wrestling the way I actually would love to watch wrestling, right? Which was
Mhm.
with a bunch of friends. I'm absorbing the energy from the arena and the event, but I'm also able to hear the commentary. I can cut to the screen and see
Mhm.
exactly what's happening in the ring. And the rings are mic'd up, so you hear the action a lot more than you would. But then it's like you're also feeling the crowd. When the crowd's cheering, it's you're literally right there and you feel everybody. And it's just, man, when Cody won, what an experience. Like, I have never been a part of something that erupted so loudly and with so much energy than when he beat Roman on night 2 for the championship. It was crazy, 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 crazy. Awesome experience. I would love to do it again. Maybe we'll do SummerSlam. I mean, we won't
Mhm.
be in a box, but
No, we won't be able to swing that unless we will if we get a nice donation. Anyone wants to donate to send Everson and I and you to a suite in Minneapolis.
oh, let's
There you go.
we ain't gonna be in, is if we did go, which by the way, I'm trying to talk myself into this existence, but the likelihood of that happening is not happening. But I would love to maybe go, or maybe you know what? Maybe we'll do what we intended to try and do for WrestleMania. Maybe I can get to Milwaukee and we can watch together.
Can get right now. So VIP club in a suite,
Oh, you're about to upset
Minneapolis,
myself and a lot of people.
2,800 per ticket. But
Twenty eight
that's for
hundred,
both nights. Yeah.
and that's for one seat.
That yes, per. Yeah.
So just as a FYI, folks, when we went to 40, we bought the whole suite. We bought the whole suite. That was a
To be
combined.
fair, this is retail, and that was like we were getting it as a first offering, which is a little different.
Yes, and we got it through a friend of the show,
Leon.
Leon CK,
Leon CK.
who set that up for us. I think he does like events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he set that up for us. Uh, but it was far more expensive than anything I think I would have ever spent on any seat for any live event ever in my life. But it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. I couldn't miss out on this. I'm glad I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't buy what I wanted to buy. So I was hell bent on buying a championship belt when I was there. I wanted to
Oh,
have the entire experience. And I told my wife, I said, look, I've got the credit
look.
card. I'm not going to do anything stupid, but what I really want is a belt. You know, if I can find one that's reasonably priced, that's a stupid statement. I'm going to get one, right? Man, I went there. The cheapest thing I found was a scalper outside of night
Everything.
2
Yeah.
who had one when I was walking by. We had just left the Hard Rock Cafe and Ric Flair was in there acting a fool. And
I do remember that. That was
that was something. And we were walking across the street going into night 2, and there was a guy standing outside, and he had I want to say it was like a big gold,
yeah.
and he was selling it, and I was like, okay, this is my moment. Like, it's a scalper, right? Like, I know this isn't the official thing, but it can't be that expensive. And what I really wanted was a belt, and I could take it up into the suite and have everybody sign it and then put it on my
That'd
shelf,
have been
right?
cool.
That's
Yeah.
what I wanted to do. And I was committed. I was like, okay, this dude's a scalper. I said, hey man, you selling that belt? He was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he said, I said, you mind if I hold it? He looked hesitant.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he was hesitant because he either thought I was going to run off with it or he knew the quality of what he was about to put in
Yeah.
my hand. It might have probably was a combination of both. But he reluctantly let me hold it. I promise, man, I'm not running away. And I
Yeah.
held it. When I felt the weight of it, I felt the quality of the leather. I still almost bought it. And I asked him, how much was it? And then he was like, oh man, look, I'll cut your deal, man. I'll sell it to you for like $250. And I was like, not for this.
Yeah.
Like my sensibility started kicking in. That
Mhm.
part of me that was like, I'm gonna get a belt at all cost, right? Had been looking for a
Yeah.
belt all weekend, right? And I've been seeing all these prices that were outrageous, but the belts
Oh, the
for
ones at WWE World are expensive.
bro, I never got. Did you get to WWE World?
So I went on Monday
Okay.
before so my flight home was late on like later on Monday, so
Yeah.
I went Monday morning.
Okay. I didn't get to go to the only thing we went to NXT
Mhm.
and both nights of Mania. And then me and Jimmy went and ran around Philly and ate some food and tried some things and stuff like that. But I didn't get to go to like WWE World. I kind of wanted to. And at one point
It's
I
cool.
almost tried to
It's
stand in that
definitely
line
yeah.
when we were going into Mania. Because I went
Mhm.
downstairs like I'm gonna buy a belt. I think it was like night one. And I was like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, the
gonna go down
merch lines are something else.
out of the building.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, listen, who stands in line that long and misses that much of the show? I'm when I saw the line, I was
People
like, there's
do.
no way I'm
People
doing
do.
that. Dude, people do weird shit. Like they do strange things. It's funny. I was talking to my wife about this last night, right? I would feel like I was watching Raw or SmackDown or something, right? And the wrestlers were fighting and they were wrestling outside of the ring area into the crowd.
Mhm.
And the wrestlers were coming right up on some people. And as the wrestlers are coming right up on these people, this guy, instead of being in the moment, right, and
No,
experiencing
that was
this,
I think that was in Clash.
pulls out his phone.
I think that was Jacob and Roman, right?
Yeah, and he turns around, right? And it just it's so strange to me that you live vicariously through yourself.
Yeah.
That's just craziest thing to me. It's almost like for some people, if it's not on your social media stream, it didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I couldn't imagine having seats like that, right? Paying that much money and then having the gracious luck to have Roman and Jacob in the main event, right? Wrestle right up next to me. And I'm not in that moment because I turned my back to pull out my
Yeah,
phone.
yeah, doing that was a bit much.
It's crazy to me. Like I don't see how you like it just does not compute. But some of us are built different. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just built different and we don't absorb things the same way. And listen, I'm not hating. I'm just saying I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it. I would much rather regale you with amazing stories about WrestleMania 40 than to have a bajillion pictures and videos that I took at WrestleMania 40 while I was also not present
Yeah.
in the moments that these things were happening. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I can't, I don't know how you do that. But WrestleMania 40 was freaking awesome. The food sucked. In that suite, the food was trash. I feel like Jimmy
Yeah, well,
ordered,
you can't get the food they bring to the suites. You
I
needed to just we had access to the club level. You just had to walk out and walk down to the club level and get the food that was not delivered to the suites.
did you have
That
some of
stuff
that
is
food?
never. I went to the club level and got like concession stand
What
food,
did you
which
have?
was
Do you
I don't
remember?
even
I don't
remember.
remember what I had. I
I don't even
remember
remember, but it was probably fine. But
I think it
yeah,
was
never get the
fine.
stuff they give to the suites because it's
No.
overpriced and low quality.
Man, look, Jimmy was sick after those hot dogs. I never had one. I don't think I saw those hot dogs. But he ordered some hot dogs and he ate them hot dogs and was sick as a dog afterwards for the majority of night 2. And in fact, I think I remember seeing them hot dogs. They look so pink. Like just not well done at all. You would think I think you can get catering in those things too. Not like the stadium catering. Like you can get
Yeah, it's
food
different.
delivered.
Like they have they'll all have a contract with someone like a Sodexo or something.
Yeah.
And the suites have different food offerings, but sometimes it looks like it's better stuff, but it's like really not.
Yeah.
Because
Which,
do you want a bad plate of fucking whatever, some pulled pork, or is that better than a good concession stand hot dog? I don't think so. But
no, I don't think so either. I wanted to order like a pizza, but I remember that pizza being
oh,
so
that's probably
freaking
like
expensive.
yeah, it's gonna be like I bet it's like a $65 pizza, and it's gonna
I
be a
think it was.
horrible frozen pizza.
I think it was. I think it was like a 12-inch pizza. And if I wanted to get pepperoni on that pizza, I think it was like $70.
Yeah,
And,
that
and I
sounds about right for
and
like sweet stuff.
I could not bring myself to it. And it's crazy because
That was your first experience with that sweet food.
brother,
Yeah.
I went into this experience thinking I'm gonna let myself live. I'm gonna let myself
Well,
live.
you got to know how to do it
And
and
my
where to
adult
do it
self
at.
was like, well, you're not gonna live without me because
It would not have been. It would not have been good. Like it would have been a bad pizza for $70.
oh, and I would have been heated. I would have been heated.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from a world where if I pay $70 for a pizza, you know what I'm saying? They better take me out to dinner tomorrow night too. But like, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
Man, maybe I'll come to Milwaukee for SummerSlam. Like, and do what we were gonna do for Mania.
We could do that. Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be like off season around August.
That will be. Yeah. I mean, we could look at the dates.
I would think it'd be off season around August. The tickets shouldn't be that crazy. Maybe if I go start looking at them now. I mean, they fixed
Oh,
up.
it's actually. Oh, it's early August. Oh, it's August 1st and 2nd. I didn't
Yeah,
realize it was beginning of August.
dang, that's actually not that far away.
Yeah, I know. That's less than 2 months away from SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
We've only got like 8 Raws and SmackDowns
it's not that
between now and
far.
SummerSlam. Yeah.
It's not that far. Yeah, I may have to start looking into that and start pricing out the tickets. See what that's like. That's wow. I didn't even consider that. I did not even
Yeah.
consider that. But that would be fun though. That would be fun. I
Yeah,
would
we
enjoy
could do
that.
that.
So let's talk a little current wrestling. And we can feel free to deviate however we want. So I did not watch SmackDown.
So to be fair, like both of these shows, I thought, if we were going to deviate, this would be a good week too, because a lot of matches, which they're having to have these King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring first round matches,
Right.
but we don't get a ton of like story development.
As ever, yeah, I
And
didn't catch
character
SmackDown,
development.
so I
So
didn't see.
SmackDown. So I mean, we get obviously Gunther is upset, but I thought maybe you just completely correctly called what was going to happen
Okay.
on our last episode, which is like, okay, Gunther comes out, he's obviously upset about being screwed in his match.
Right.
Cody comes out and does his thing. He's like, yeah, you're right. And you deserve a rematch and we can have it. Just quit whining. Then Sammy comes out and interrupts him. Gunther is, and you missed it. This was the dumbest Cody has ever been as a character.
That's hard to
Because
believe.
because him and so Cody and Sammy are going at it on the mic, and Sammy's complaining that Gunther and Cody have both done him wrong. And as Sammy and Cody are talking, Gunther comes and attacks Cody from behind.
Okay.
Sammy's gonna walk off, but then he's like, "No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna help Cody."
Yeah.
He goes and pulls Gunther out of the ring, and Sammy and Gunther are, they got each other by the collar and are punching each other.
Yeah.
Cody goes to do a suicide dive.
Okay.
And he does it, but like Gunther pushes away and Cody just hits Sammy.
Okay.
And he's doing the thing like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. And obviously Sammy's like, you attacked me, Cody.
Right.
But like, what was Cody's plan? He was diving at them both anyways. So I was like, this is a dumb one.
I mean, listen, And it
His
makes
his options were he would plan to hit them both, but he was
that's the
upset
whole
that he
point.
hit
That
Sammy.
he just hit
Yeah,
Sammy, right?
yeah,
I'm okay with hitting you as long as I hit Gunther, but if Gunther didn't get
yeah.
hit, my bad.
Right.
It's you know what? That run right there is where the wrestling tropes just get in the way of common sense.
Kind of, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, here's
Yeah.
another one. So you're laying on the mat, right?
Mhm.
I ascend the top rope. I gesture to the crowd. You know, I'm working them, right?
Mhm.
I go and I jump off the top rope. I'm going to do a big body splash, right? You move, right? Boom, I hit the mat. Now I'm hurt, right? Would it not have hurt had I hit you too? Like that is some of the I laugh. I don't ever question because it's stupid to question because obviously
Yeah.
it's just the storytelling mechanism. But it doesn't make any logical sense, right? Like it should hurt. The reason why I always loved Rob Van Dam's 5-star frog splash is because that dude would sell it like it hurt
Like
whether
it
it
hurt,
hit or
yeah.
not. You know what I'm saying? And it made it make sense. Yeah, it would hurt. It would hurt. But everybody else is like, boom, hit it with the big splash, go for the pin. I'm good. But if you move and I
Yeah.
miss, then damn it, that hurt. But that's with any move, right? If I'm trying to punch you and I punch you in the head, I'm good. But if you move and I punch the turnbuckle, I've hurt my hand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wrestling logic, folks.
Yeah.
Wrestling
So
logic.
yeah, so yeah, we have that happen. We have a Cody and Gunther title match set for 2 weeks from Friday. So not this SmackDown coming up, but the next SmackDown. Gunther will get his rematch. He has a condition
Okay.
for the title match, but he's not going to tell us yet.
Oh, well, we
I
got we
think
got
he's
we got
going
2
to tell
weeks.
us next. Yeah, I think he's going to tell us either next week or that week during before the title match. So one of those two. But he has a condition for us.
So this gives
So we
Sammy
got
plenty
we
of
got some
time to
story
interject
development
himself more.
there. Raquel won and advanced in the Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, I did catch that
Afterwards,
for Sammy.
we had a Julia face turn on Kiana James.
What?
Yeah, Julia like Kiana was pinning someone with her foot on the ropes, and I forget who it was, knocked her foot off the ropes, and Kiana thought it was Julia, so Kiana was pushing Julia around after the match, and then Julia had had enough and attacked Kiana James.
Boy, they are really trying to give Julia Kyrie Sane's shine.
Yeah.
Like Kyrie was being set up to have this massive babyface turn with the Asuka situation, right? Now that Asuka and Kyrie are both gone, Julia is here. And like you notice, if you look at Julia, her presentation last week, not last week on SmackDown, but the week before when she wrestled, her presentation is so different now. Like she no longer has the blue hair with the braids. It's like it's just blonde, and her ring attire is so much more akin to what Io currently wears, which is similar to what Asuka would wear, which is similar to what Kyrie would wear. And now she's having a face turn against Kiana James. Kiana has been positioned as somebody that the WWE looks at as a potential star. They are trying so hard to get Julia over.
They
And,
are. They're
and
giving her another shot,
they
at
are.
least.
They are. Will it work? I mean, I think the presentation is fine, but it's also now very I hate to sound like this, but like it's very coded and cookie cutter. Like I'm struggling to understand why all of your female Japanese stars have the same aesthetic.
I think that's just I don't know, maybe I think it's just the Joshi thing, maybe.
Maybe.
Is they all come over and have a little bit of that similar gimmick if they don't get a like completely new direction that maybe we just see it as similar.
Maybe.
Not
But here's my thing, right? When Io, before she was Io Sky, she was Io Shirai. When she was Io Shirai in NXT, she did not have this Joshi influence. She didn't have it in her ring attire. But when she came up to the main roster, she did. Asuka's ring attire simplified a lot from where it used to be. Kyrie had her whole like sailor gimmick, and that kind of simplified into something that was a lot more akin to
Like, it
Asuka.
wasn't even like really a sailor gimmick.
No, it
It was
wasn't.
it was like her gimmick was just the costume and doing some gestures.
Yes, it was really like a
Because
just
like
a
it's not like we got backstage vignettes of her
on a
sailing.
boat. No,
Yeah, or like
no,
talking about her sailing
no.
experience.
She
She
was
was just
just
kind of
the
she
pirate
was just cos
princess.
yeah, she was just cosplay.
Which is that's what they're all doing. Like
That's it.
Drew McIntyre never does backstage vignettes of him actually being a Highlander, but
You should.
I mean, it would be cool. I'm not doubting the cool factor of it, but like none of them actually do that stuff. So I get what you're saying, right? But I'm just saying that there just seems like there's just this standardization, like there's no variation, no variability amongst them, and they just all kind of run together. And I don't know. I personally liked it when they had their own flavors, their own styles, but like I always say, if they're happy with it, I'm happy. I'm happy that they're happy. But I don't know. I my criticism notwithstanding, do your thing. Do your thing. I hope they get Julia right. I hope they
Yeah.
they do right
Well,
by
she's
her.
got she's having another chance to get over, so we'll see. I mean, I she's probably honestly lucky to get another chance and
Agreed.
that she still still has a chance.
Agreed. And I hope it doesn't come at the expense of Kiana James because I think that she's done quite a bit to endear herself to the fans, just through her matches. You know what I mean? Like she hasn't really been positioned as like, hey, we think she's a star, but you put her in these matches and she shines. And I think the people who are paying attention because she's getting in the ring and she's doing some good work. And, I hope that trying to position Julia as a star again amongst the WWE universe, I hope it just doesn't come at the expense of Kiana James, but we shall see. So
yeah.
Talatonga
Oh,
defeats Royce.
yes. So that match is what it was. It wasn't. You're not missing anything there. Talatonga gets the win after uh, Solo and Tama get involved and distract Royce Keys. He takes them out outside, but then walks into the choke slam when he get back in the ring. The interesting thing was, so R-Truth comes out to try to save Royce Keys,
Yeah.
and he's getting beaten up too. And Priest comes and pulls R-Truth out of the ring, is like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Like, that's not our business. Don't get involved."
Yeah.
Which I think that's setting up something interesting there. I don't exactly remember. I think we had some backstage between either Truth and maybe Truth and Royce Keys, or maybe Priest and Royce Keys.
Okay.
But just setting that up and giving a little edge to, like, our Truth wants to go help people and be a nice guy, and Damien is more like, no man, we got to focus on our own thing.
Right.
Which is now the Viking Raiders showed up
Huh.
and told Truth and Damien they want to go title for title here
Yeah, I'm about to
soon.
say because they're like the AAA tag team champs.
Correct, and they had the belts. They had the belts there. Chad Gable showed up. That's where he started his Lucha
Apology
Apology
tour.
tour. Yep, that he continued on. He was talking to Nick Aldis about something, so to be seen whether he is a SmackDown or a Raw guy. But yeah, that's where he apologized to Phoenix
Yeah.
on SmackDown.
I like that for him. I like that he is going on this apology tour, A. And then B, I like the fact that he is getting his flowers from the fans for his part in the Grande versus Grande, right? Like it's easy to look at that match on its face and be like, yeah, that's an incredible match. And it's easier to look at that and think Kaiser is made after this, right? Like he's made. The fans love
By the
him.
way, did you see the picture I sent you?
So when I briefly saw it when I was at work, we're not supposed to have our phones out at work anymore, and so I kind of saw it briefly when I was moving my phone from one place to the other. I didn't really get to look at it, but let me pull it up now. Let's see. Okay, so Kaiser and El Grande sitting next to one another.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome work.
Yeah, the AI is
And he's
great.
gonna be. Uh,
The AI is great. So He is
No, I think that's a real picture. It's
somebody else in the mask.
yeah, yes. Yes, he was Kaiser was going out somewhere, so someone else wore the El Grande mask and sat next to him.
That's interesting. And so now we can try. So he's selling the idea that it's
Yes,
not
that it's
him
obvious.
behind the mask.
Correct. Yes,
Got
correct.
it. Got it. Got it.
Which is just awesome.
I mean, listen, good on him, man. It seems like he's found a second life in Mexico, and they love him down there, and more power to him. He found himself a lady and found himself a wrestling company that believes in him, and he appreciates the culture. Good on him. And I think it was great that Gable
Ah,
is what's that?
nothing. You just keep going, and I'll send it to you.
Oh no. What now you
No,
throw me off
it's
now.
topical. It's topical.
It's okay. I'm waiting for it now.
I wish what you're about to get was AI, but it's a real screenshot.
Oh
It's
boy.
coming through. But yeah, the where they go with Gable is going to be interesting.
Okay, so let's see. So this is a so
I
this to, to
I
this
I thought it was a joke, but nope. Back to the well.
so this is a campaign I'm assuming that they are on, right? Like a campaign of like a certain type of video that they're going to make that has so much hyperbole in the description that it makes you watch, and then they talk about something that is not at all tied to the ruination of Chad Gable. Like, I mean, are we for real? Look, dude, let me be perfectly clear. And this is coming from somebody who is not a luchador that wears a lucha mask. You are corny, sir. Like, you are corny.
Yeah.
Like, you are too grown.
Yeah, like you are an adult man
You
that
know what I'm
was a
saying?
wrestler. You
You
should
are
know better than to be doing
too
this.
grown to be doing this stupid stuff. Like it's so wild. Like, can you not utilize all of the God-given privileges that you've got to do better? Like you could
But
make
it's
better
crazy that
content.
it's crazy that like he was a wrestler that achieved success at the highest level in the
Yes.
biggest company,
Yes.
and he's resorting to this.
You could do better. And listen, far be it for me to make any type of judgments on you because I don't know you. I don't know your life, right? Fair. But I've seen so many people who have been on top at one point stoop to new lows when times get hard. I don't know if you hard up. I don't know if this the lucrative nature of the BS that your co-host uh consorts in has rubbed off on you, if the YouTube dollars are starting to make you not make sense. But for whatever reason, I have such a hard time respecting clickbait.
Oh, there's
You
there's
know what
no
I'm
respect
saying?
for me on that one.
I have so hard a time finding a way to respect the disingenuous nature of clickbait titles. You are the National Enquirer of YouTube when you live and exist in that space. And I just think it's bottom feeding stuff, and I would like to think better of you. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I mean, what can I say, man? Look, if you feel like this type of approach works for you, and it helps you to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. I mean, who am I to tell you what to do? You're Stevie Richards. You've done more in your life than what I would hope to do in that space. But I think in the space of trying to operate with a level of integrity, you know what I mean? Like whatever little bit of ground I've made, I'm proud of that. And I would much rather have this podcast and the thing that we do live and die on the back of the integrity that we built than to gain some sort of following or gain more attention for putting out stupid stuff like that. So, if you're on YouTube and you're watching this and you think
Just
that I'm
can't believe
wild
he
for
did it.
saying that,
He did it again.
I think it's a thing.
After we started the show.
I swear, brother, I think it's a thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a series of videos that he puts out that is like, has WWE ruined blah 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 already? And then what they're talking about is something so innocuous that obviously they're not ruined by this.
So they use that same mugshot image of him is used in like all the dumb videos.
Yep.
Like he's on the left and everyone else is on the right. Like that's the same face he has on the has has WWE ruined LA Knight video.
Yeah, listen, as long I will say this, the only thing he's doing as a service to himself with putting his stupid looking face up there in that stupid looking pose is not
Is
putting
not
his
putting the
co-host stupid
co-host.
looking
Yeah.
face up there, because at least people wouldn't want to punch the screen. But I feel like if you put his co-host stupid face up there, I think there'd be a lot of broken monitors, because I think people would just instinctually punch and then be upset because they didn't realize what happened. He just has such a punchable face. If you don't know, just don't do yourself a solid. And if you check out the podcast and his host is on it, take 2 to 3 steps back away from your television, your monitor, your phone. Do yourself a solid. I don't want you to break something and have to go replace it like I did. I didn't break my monitor because what's his name? James Romero, or I think that's his
Oh, I
name.
don't
I
remember.
think it's James Romero or something like
I
that.
tried to give one of those videos a shot, and I couldn't deal with that guy. You're right, he is.
He's insufferable, dude. He is
Yeah,
insufferable.
yeah, I will say that.
My God. Anyway,
The
so
one other thing from SmackDown, I guess it's not really story advancement or anything new, but I thought Tiffany did some of her better work on the mic.
okay.
And her and Charlotte had a bit of an interaction. Rhea came out, and the crowd was loving seeing Rhea. She looked a bit hobbled. She had a little like knee sleeve on.
Who
Doesn't
Rhea
seem to
did?
be anything. Yeah, didn't. No, doesn't seem to be anything serious. But they said Rhea isn't cleared to wrestle, and so Charlotte came out. She's stepping up to Rhea, and then Tiffany does too. Tiffany and Charlotte had a little interaction, but I thought it was a really good promo from Tiffany. She seemed really comfortable and just came off well. Like
Good.
came off better than I think she had before. And
Well,
and
good
then
on
we
her.
did and then we did later in the show they showed a Blake Monroe vignette where she was directly targeting Tiffany. So we'll see
Hmm.
where that goes.
I know they've run a few vignettes with her, or like
Yeah.
promos of her imminent arrival.
Yeah, but now she was directly talking about Tiffany and like alluding to the fact that okay, the characters are somewhat similar. At least Tiffany's, beginning character in NXT is very similar, and yeah,
Yeah.
Blake was essentially giving her there's only room for one of us, and it's going to be me.
Yeah. Well, listen, I am anxiously awaiting Blake Monroe. I would like to see if the main roster suits her, if it works for her. I think sometimes as a pretty blonde, you can kind of get washed away in the sea of blondes. And so how you differentiate yourself, and maybe she can do it. I don't know. It's always interesting because that type of gimmick has not always had the best history in WWE with regards to success rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and to be fair, I feel like Blake Monroe. What was her name in AEW?
Mariah May.
Okay, so I feel like she came over to WWE with more fanfare than her NXT run has equated to. And sometimes I wonder, Skeeter, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but sometimes I wonder if some people who come into the WWE umbrella and they're high enough profile, if they have it in their contract that they have a run on NXT and then it's in their contract to make a main roster ascension, right? Versus you go to NXT, you prove that you can belong, and then if you do, then they'll pull you to the main roster the way that their homegrown talent is, right? I don't believe their homegrown talent has something guaranteed in their contract that says that they will have a main roster run. But I wonder if you come into the company and you have a higher profile, that's written in your contract that you will ascend to the main roster at some point. Because sometimes it doesn't make sense to me why some people will come in with like so much fanfare, so much buzz around them. They hit NXT and then it's like you lob things at them. title opportunities, title shots, all these different things. They come to the main roster and they don't even land. Like they don't even land like that. Like we were just talking about Julia, and hopefully Julia can have a second life now, right? But she came in right alongside Stephanie Vaquer, highly touted, right? Goes to NXT, wins a bunch of stuff, comes to the main roster, and she kind of lands with a dud. And it feels like it's not proof of concept as much as it is you showed up with a big name. You're gonna go to the main roster. That's how we keep you, right? Because I mean, Ricky Saints, did he really do a huge
Eh,
impact in NXT? But he's at the main roster now, and he's put in some pretty decently positioned angles, but he was a pull from AEW. So it's like, do you rope him in with the idea that, like, hey, you're going to do some NXT stuff, but we're going to put you on the main roster. And, because it's in your contract, they got to put you on TV whether you're landing or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not corroborated by anything, folks. This is just me thinking out loud. But it's odd to me when I think about the Julia situation, because she was dudding for so long. We're talking about her second run right now. Like, hopefully they'll get it right. But I've known so many wrestlers, or watched so many wrestlers who came in, and if they thudded the way that Julia thudded when she came in with the fans, they'd not be running a re-push of her right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'd be shipped back down to NXT, or their contract would have just expired.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could see it in some cases. I doubt someone like, Blake Monroe or Ricky Starks has that written in there, but maybe. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm just assuming either way. But
Sure. Well, I mean,
seems
that's all
like
we're
a
doing
lot
here.
they would give for someone of, no disrespect. When I say caliber, it's obviously like their notoriety on a global scale.
Sure, sure. I would like to see a Britt Baker come to WWE. I mean, last time I checked, she's
Yeah.
still on the outs with AEW, and she's not performing for them. So,
Yeah, well, I don't really keep up with things
m-
over there, but
me
yeah, I get.
either. Me either. But I think I saw that somewhere lately that she's
Yeah.
not competing for them currently.
I remember seeing that a while ago, but then like I don't know, it's been a while since I heard
Yeah.
anything one way or the other.
You know who it is I really like from that roster, and I've never actually seen a match of hers, but I like her because of her YouTube content? Thunder
Huh.
Rosa.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything of hers either.
So I know
YouTube or wrestling, to be honest.
I came across her YouTube channel watching Simon Miller stuff,
Hmm.
because I believe when he came, I believe he did some US based stuff for a while, like coming to
Yeah.
the States to do some wrestling stuff. And
Hmm.
I don't know how he linked up with her, but he linked up with her. And so I saw her on his YouTube channel, right? And then I went to her YouTube channel because she had some videos with him as well. And now it's like, oh, she's like super cool. And I think she was doing a lot of YouTube stuff at the time because she was dealing with like a concussion, so she wasn't wrestling, and so she was putting out a lot of content. And so I was just watching. I was like, "Oh, she's really cool. Like, she seems like a cool person, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I genuinely like her. Never seen a single match she's ever wrestled in, but she's really cool. I recreated her in 2K. I recreated her in 2K off of
You
images
did
from
you
Google.
oh, you did one yourself?
Yes. So I went to Community Creations because
Mhm.
somebody did a really great like Thunder Rosa half face paint.
Mhm.
And so I took that download and then I wiped everything out except for like the face paint. And then
Mhm.
I went to Google and found like a one of her outfits that I liked, and I went and recreated. I have to
Nice.
send you a picture of the character I created and then the outfit that I emulated, because I think I did a good job. I might upload it just to give it to
Oh,
somebody else. I
okay.
think I did a good job. All right. So on to Raw. Wait, by the way, before we jump to Raw, the qualifiers on SmackDown. So Dom beat who? Because I know he's wrestling Oba. He's wrestling Oba tomorrow. He's wrestling Oba
Is
tomorrow.
it's on SmackDown?
I believe he qualified on
Well,
SmackDown.
he
Oh,
did. He won the match. I don't remember when the next matches are. That was Dom. It was Damian Priest, Trick, and Braun Breaker.
okay. Yes, and I guess I'm assuming, obviously because it's Dom, that the Judgment Day got involved and helped him win.
Yes, Liv delivered a low blow when the ref was distracted.
Okay, and Dom won, right? Because he
Yes.
came out on Raw, talking trash to Oba about
which I thought was great.
Oh, that was awesome.
He told him to respect the stash.
He also told him that he was like a 20-year veteran.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is funny, Dom. Even though it's true, like Dom talking to him, like,
yeah,
you know,
rookie.
he's the big vet, and yeah,
it's like, know your place, rookie.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's funny.
It's always great.
And then I just love the part I loved when, like, Oba ended the promo. He's like, "Yeah, I know Rey Mysterio's your father, but next week you're gonna meet your daddy or something."
Yeah.
And they cut to Dom, and Dom's like, "That he's not my dad."
Yeah,
and
I was about to say the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
not my dad. That made me laugh.
His commitment to that portion of his character's like backstory is great. Like he is very old school when it comes to that part. Like you don't see I haven't seen any interviews that he has done where he acknowledges Rey as his father.
He doesn't. It was great.
I love that. That is very old school of him. But hey, look, he's a 20-year vet. He was raised by the old guys. You know what I'm saying? He's a different breed of wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Dom qualified.
Yeah, I think that one is on Raw next week.
Okay, so that was all right. So how many? Do we have any more of those four-way matches left?
No, we ended those on Raw this week.
Okay. So on SmackDown tomorrow, we should be getting who is wrestling each other on SmackDown tomorrow? Oba and Dom's on Raw.
Well, maybe they do. Maybe we have one four-way match for each.
Okay.
Let me just look it up. Oh yeah, Jay, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor in one.
Okay.
And then Soul, Lyra, Charlotte, and Jade in the other.
Here's what I'm really liking about this. And I remember saying something similar to this when they announced the King and Queen in the Ring qualifiers at the end of a Clash in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
They are weaving so many stories into this tournament, right? I'm looking at what you just laid out, right? What the bracket currently looks like for these last two fatal four-way matches. And everybody that you named has other stories that are happening that are probably going to come into play with regards to why some people lose, why some people win. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. It makes people's stories matter, even if you are not the main focal point of any particular programming. Because there's so many people who are probably going to have somebody run in, somebody say something, and then somebody interfere. I'm thinking about Jay, because you said that was Jay and
LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn.
So I know Royce Keys is tied up with the whole Jacob Fatu thing. He's also been wrestling against the MFTs.
Solo, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's him and Solo, yeah.
Yeah, he's been going against the MFTs. And then, of course, Jay has got the whole bloodline thing going on. And then LA Knight, he's pretty much beefing with Adam Pearce and Jay.
And Jay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And Jay. And then, we have Royce Keys, LA Knight, Jay Uso, and who is the fourth person?
Finn.
Finn. So Finn is the only person right now who is kind of void of a dedicated storyline right now. He's kind of free of the Judgment Day. He's kind of rebuilding his name out here, which, likely means that Finn is probably not going to win, but
no, it seems like I would figure it's Jay or LA Knight. Or, maybe Finn does win and Jay and LA Knight take each other out.
Maybe that would leave Finn beating Royce Keys, which, listen, unless you have some sort of interference there, like I don't know. I feel like Finn, I hate saying this, but Finn ain't got nothing going on right now.
He does not.
He didn't have anything going on right now. And so I don't know if you put Royce Keys, but I mean, Royce Keys is not winning the thing. If he wins tonight or tomorrow night, he's going to then face, because Oba is facing Dom. So he would be facing
Javon Evans.
He would be facing Javon Evans. I mean, that's an interesting matchup there because the size difference. But then it's like Finn versus Javon. I mean, that's a match. But then I'm also thinking
interesting that so far every winner of the first round matches has been a Raw superstar.
Javon,
yeah,
yes,
Javon, Oba, Femi, and Dom, Io, Liv Morgan, and Raquel.
Oh well, I guess the Judgment Day is on Raw.
Yeah, we got to be talking. Nick Aldis not doing a great job so far.
No,
his job may be on the line.
So this last match, LA Knight is on Raw. Jey Uso is on Raw. Royce Keys is on SmackDown.
And Finn's on
SmackDown. I mean, unless you're going for an entire Raw roster in the King of the Ring, you're putting it on Finn or Royce. If that's the case, and I'm trying to think that they're not going to book all Raw.
I think it is going to be all Raw. I think it'll be LA Knight.
I mean, they gave
I think it'll be LA Knight. I think Jacob will have an opportunity to help Jay underhandedly and will not do it.
So what has the relationship currently been between Royce and Solo? Like, are they still in that thing where Solo trying to convince him?
Yes, he came to him again after Tala beat him and did he's like, it does not have to be this hard. And he's like, why do you keep doing this? Just come over to the dark side. So yeah, he's still trying to do that. Now, it would be an interesting beat if Solo interferes and helps Royce win.
That's what I was literally about to say.
Yeah.
I was literally about to say that. What if Solo interferes and helps Royce win, right? Royce doesn't want that help, but that help has gotten him through to the next round, right? Which will put him against Javon Evans, right? Now, do I think Royce is going to go all the way to the finals? I don't know. But he'd be going up against Javon Evans.
Do you think Javon Evans? Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't think Javon Evans was going to get this far.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I definitely thought Seth, because that's what I thought was going to happen.
So that begs the question, right, of are they putting a lot of stock behind who's going to be the winner of the King of the Ring? Now, I'm not saying that to disparage anyone, but I don't see Javon winning the whole thing, right? I don't see Royce Keys winning the whole thing, which means I feel like that winner is probably going to come from the other side of the bracket.
I think it just got real interesting with Seth not winning his match.
I never thought he was going to.
Because here's your potential winners. Here's your potential King of the Ring now.
Okay.
Javon Evans.
Yep.
Oba Femi.
Yep.
Dom Mysterio.
Yep.
Or Jay, LA, Royce Keys, Finn Balor.
So I don't think it's going to be Jay. I don't think it's going to be
Probably
Finn.
Not. Probably not.
I don't think it's going to be Royce Keys, but it could be LA Knight. So let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, that LA Knight wins that Fatal 4-Way. So now you're looking at either Oba, LA Knight, Dominic Mysterio. It should be 8 people, right? Because we still have 2.
No, it should be 7. Because we have 1 4-way match and
I'm saying if let's say LA Knight wins that Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, then it's LA Knight against Javon Evans and Oba Femi versus Dominic Mysterio.
Okay, so all right, LA Knight, Javon Evans, Oba Femi, and Dom as potential winners of the King of the Ring.
And not just a King of the Ring, like someone that is getting a championship match at SummerSlam.
Yes.
Which brings us back is the plan Oba Femi wins King of the Ring and Brock costs him the title at SummerSlam?
I just feel like you'd waste SummerSlam in Minnesota, in Minneapolis with Brock there, and it's only a run-in appearance to run it back in Saudi Arabia at
from
Night
Minnesota.
of Champions.
He just went to school there.
I'm just saying though, like that's where he was billed from. That's where he's been billed from his entire career. And so, you know what I mean? It's like that to me is his kayfabe hometown. And so you have him in his kayfabe hometown and he's only going to do a run-in. Like, if that's
I'm just saying, I don't have any other idea of what's happening.
Unless
LA Knight wins.
I would rather Brock
Cody
cost him the match against Dom. Brock cost Oba the match against Dom to even qualify. Dom goes to the finals, and then you either have LA Knight or Javon Evans, right? LA Knight should probably win that. And then it'd be LA Knight versus Dom Mysterio, which is a matchup we have not seen. Do I think LA Knight wins that? No. I think Dominic Mysterio wins. Dom wins and gets a title shot at whoever he wants, right? Probably Cody. And listen, we ain't seen that either. So that I think would be a great matchup for Cody to go against Dom.
If I'm betting on something right now, I think LA Knight beats Cody at SummerSlam or loses and turns heel.
I could go with that.
I mean, maybe that's me wanting it to happen, but I don't see what the heck else is happening at this point.
Listen,
because I was sure it was going to be Seth.
I never thought he was going to win. I just knew Breakker was going to cost him his spot.
I thought that initially, but then they had that match, which confused me.
And I remember us talking, and I remember thinking this was such a weird place to put a blow off for their whole feud. You know what I'm saying? Is on like a Raw. That's so weird, but it's clearly not done. It's clearly not done. And so him losing, I didn't think he was going to win. And I was glad when he did not win, not because I don't like Seth, but because I think that this story is better if Breakker keeps costing him stuff, right? And you do this payoff at SummerSlam in a match between the two of them, right? But yeah, I could totally see LA Knight beating Dom, because Dom is still the AAA Mega Champion. So I could see him beating Dom, getting that championship shot, challenging Cody at SummerSlam. Cody is currently tied up in this whole thing with Gunther and
figure
Sammy.
Out. I mean, yeah, I don't really know, and that I think is always like it's a good thing.
Agreed.
Because a lot will depend on what Gunther announces as this condition or stipulation or whatever that he's going to tell us about this upcoming on SmackDown. So
yeah, that
because I don't know, I'm not sure if Cody walks out with the title. Maybe LA Knight faces Gunther. Maybe LA Knight faces Roman Reigns. Who the heck knows?
I mean, there's the thing. I guess if you can pick whoever you want to challenge, if you win King of the Ring, right? I mean, I guess what's to prevent the winner of King of the Ring from challenging Roman? You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be Cody.
Smarts, common sense.
I mean, listen, Cody is easy to find, hard to beat. So, and that's coming from the horse's mouth.
Roman harder to find, harder to beat. So,
well, you're right about the harder to find part.
Hey, he'll be on Raw next week.
So he says.
So WWE says he'll be there, and so will that guy. His guy that hands him the championship now.
Oh yeah, he does have a guy. He does have a guy.
It's not Paul Heyman. Someone's got to do it.
When you said that guy, the first thing I thought of when you said that guy was that guy in the green shirt that sits. When you said that, I was like, oh God, like he has the worst facial hair ever.
Can't believe like you're just now figuring out about this guy.
But the guy in the green shirt?
Yeah, he's been there for like a decade.
I don't be paying attention to the people in the crowd. Like
I never front row every show for
my
a decade.
attention is so focused in the ring that I don't pay attention to the people around it. Like I never catch signs in the crowd. I never catch any of this stuff. When everybody says, "Oh man, I saw such a sign in the crowd," I was like, "I didn't see that." And then when I go look back, I'm like, "Oh, it was right there." I guess I may have seen that if I was paying attention, but I never see that stuff. By the way, speaking of Oba, I love the fact that, the Judgment Day tried to jump him and JD whacks him with that chair and he just like completely no-sells it. And after he no-sells the chair shot, JD looks at the chair like the chair might not be real.
Mm-hmm.
I love such great.
That was good.
Great work right there. Just the way he looked at that chair, like is something wrong with this chair? Like did it not work? Is it plastic or something? And then he punched through the chair and punched JD's big head out the ring.
I mean, also just a heck of an opening. Like reaction for Oba.
Oh, the crowd was so hot for Oba.
Yeah,
they were so hot for Oba.
To be fair, really hot for a lot of people, which is always fun to see with these international crowds.
I love that.
Singing Ray's song, and Ray was loving it.
The Paris crowd was really, really hot. And I love that. I love that. I love that. I love Paris. Paris is one of my favorite places in the world. And
I've never been.
Man,
So that was our honeymoon that never happened, where we went to Paris because our original wedding date was April, or was it April, or I think it was late March 2020,
Yeah.
which most people will remember that there's something that happened there in March
Yeah. Yeah.
2020
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
unlike a lot of people that, I mean, we were not the only people in the world to have to cancel a wedding, but we decided like, hey, marriage isn't going to change anything. Like, we're already living together, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
Let's wait. Let's wait a year and have a wedding. And I think that was a great decision because we had our wedding a year later, and it was the best night of my life still. But yeah, our original honeymoon, we were going to France and going to Paris, amongst other places there, but
Where'd you end up going?
have never made it there. Hawaii.
Oh, equally as nice. I've never been to Hawaii, but
It was awesome. So we went to Kauai, which is not the big island. It's the
yeah.
more like jungle and remote island.
Yes.
That was so that's June of 2021. There are still, because of COVID, there are no rental cars available in Hawaii
Mm.
because of COVID. So we
Yeah.
didn't have a rental car while we're there. And you know how many taxis there are on Kauai? No, there's one. There's one guy with one taxi, and he just drives people like to the airport, to hotels, and goes back.
Hey, that's plenty of
So
money when there's no.
so we ended up, yeah, we didn't end up like, we didn't do a whole lot because we couldn't get anywhere, but
Yeah.
we relaxed and walked to the few places around and had a good time.
That actually
So
sounds kind of cool to me.
our oh man. So hey, yeah, we're definitely getting off topic now, but just this story while I'm thinking of it, we had a travel agent that did book this trip.
Yeah.
And there was a shuttle, like someone with a van that was going to shuttle us from the airport to the hotel,
Yeah.
and from the hotel back to the airport.
Yeah.
He showed up like an hour late and did take us from the airport to the hotel.
Mm.
Hotel to airport, never showed up. So it's like getting close, and we've got our bags, and we're like, well, we can't call a taxi.
Right.
No one's doing Uber or anything,
Right.
especially there because of COVID still. And we just saw like another younger couple walking to their car with bags. And
Yeah.
we're like, you think they're going to the airport? And I like ran and asked them like, hey, can you take us to the airport? They're like, sure. So we piled in with our bags, and thank God we saw these random people because it was a super early flight. So this is like 3:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
We're just like, what do we do?
Yeah.
It was, what a crazy end to that whole thing. But
We got married. We got married December 21st of 2019. Now, we all know what happened in 2020,
yeah.
right? We got married right before the world ended.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy now we think back on it, how nobody knew what was literally about to happen. We just picked December because where we work, the business shuts down for like 2 weeks. So we wouldn't have to take vacation.
Yeah.
So we were just like, let's do it in, December. It'll be nice. The venue that we got was already decorated for Christmas. So, we could just utilize that as our decor for the whole thing and spend, as we didn't have to spend as much money as we could have. We flew across the country, Skeeter, to Washington State. Beautiful, beautiful spot. You know what Washington State was also the site of? It was ground zero for the first case of COVID in the United States. Yes.
Probably around that time.
Oh, I know it was. It was December of 2019 when we got back.
That's crazy.
When we got back on the East Coast, right? And people started getting sick. Mind you, my wife got sick on our honeymoon. So when we got there, right? We checked into the resort we were at. Beautiful spot. And we got back to our room. It's like wood, everything. It's like a big log cabin on the side of a mountain, right? And I'm just like, oh man, this is awesome. This is great. She goes and opens the balcony door. She opens it. And the second she opens it, she just kind of stops. I'm looking around the room. She's just like, I don't feel really good, right? She was sick the entire time we were on the honeymoon, right? I'm going to like the local Rite Aid, getting her medicine, trying to treat symptoms for something I don't even know what it is. I'm no doctor, right? So I'm just buying her stuff to try and help with her stuffiness, with her congestion. She's just out of it the entire time. We get back on the East Coast, and then you start hearing these news reports, right? About like this strain of SARS-CoV-1, right?
Mhm.
That has been reported in Washington. And then next thing you know, COVID is a thing, right?
Yeah.
I joke my wife all the time. I was like, yo, you were patient zero.
You may have been.
You were patient zero.
May have been.
But it was crazy. I'm listening to your story and I'm just thinking about all the people who we knew who canceled their weddings in 2020 because you had to. Like venues were just closing down, places weren't
Yep.
open, right? And we were just like, dang, we got our wedding off right before all this stuff happened.
Yeah.
Y'all were smart though. I mean, wait a year, wait for things to come back around so you can do it. Cause I know some people were just kind of like, man, all right, we'll
Yeah,
just go.
we had some like other people that got married like that year. They tried to like just delay it to the fall, and luckily my wife was, smart enough being a doctor. She was like, no, like let's push it out like
Right.
a
This thing
year
ain't
at
blowing
least.
over in the
Like,
fall.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Totally get that. Let's see. Where are we at here? Let's see. So Penta and Ray was a dope match.
yeah. I'm glad Ray's not paralyzed.
So that Poison Rana that he did,
Yeah.
I didn't catch it when it happened, but the replay,
Oh,
I was
I
like,
don't know.
bro, you spiked yourself on your own
Mhm.
move. That was crazy. I mean, the fact that, and listen, Penta went easy on that Mexican destroyer. After
Mm.
that situation with the Poison Rana, I kept thinking to myself, no way is Penta going to finish this with a Mexican destroyer. Like, there's no way he's going to do that, right? But sure enough, he did it. But you could tell he was protecting Ray with that
Yeah.
because he ain't hit it the way he hits it with most people. He was kind of
Mhm.
leaning back. He kind of let Ray brace his whole body on him, and it was slower than normal. But they did it. Shout out to Ray for being able to finish that. Because let me tell you, he pile drived himself.
He did.
That was nuts. But I am thoroughly enjoying what they're doing with Gable. Just having
Mhm.
him have this redemption arc where he realizes the error of his ways and that he was a dick for a long time to a lot of people. And I like the fact that you're also leaning into what happened on AAA, right? And the fact
Mhm.
that yeah, you lost a match, you lost your mask, you're apologizing because you realize that you were wrong. But also, the people who he's apologizing to are also telling him that it's like, listen, I accept your apology. What you did is not cool, right? But I've been watching you, man, and it's like you went on this campaign to destroy this thing that you hate, but you really learned what it means to be lucha. You know what I mean? You learn what it means to be lucha, and though you may not have known it at the time, right? You became what lucha is, just like the other El Grande. And to have Gable kind of recognize that and recognize that he has grown his appreciation for the thing that he ultimately he when he wanted to hate, he grew an appreciation for, and he grew an appreciation for the mask. And so you then run the angle where Ethan Page, which I am so high on this dude right now, I think he's doing incredible work. But and don't remind me to come back to Ethan Page if I forget, because I have something very glowing to say about him that I told a coworker of mine. But I love the angle where Ethan and Rusev come out and they're beating up Ray and Penta. And then Rusev snatches Ray's mask, right? And at that point, I just knew, okay, Gable's going to come out. He's going to come out because this is going to show that he's going to be out here to protect the thing that he ultimately, originally he stated that he hated, right? When Penta covers Ray, and then Rusev and God, why is his name escaping me right now? Why is it doing that?
Need a page.
Yes, my brain, dude. Ethan Page start beating up Penta as he's trying to protect Ray, right? I'm like, okay, this is great because it makes this beatdown look really bad because Penta can't defend himself because he's trying to defend Ray. And Gable shows up, the crowd pops so loudly for Gable, and well deserved. And he comes out there, he clears the ring, he sees Ray's mask, he holds it, and you can see the gears turning where it's like, this all started with Ray. You know what I mean? This all started with Ray. And now he's holding Ray's mask. And this is the thing that he wanted to do. This is the whole reason he went on that arc was to destroy Lucha Libre. And it was all predicated off of the feud that he had with Ray. And now he's holding Ray's mask in the most unlikely way to complete your goal, right? And now he's on the other side of it. And he gives the mask back to Ray. And I was like, that is such great freaking storytelling. I would have never imagined 2 years ago, a year ago, maybe, it's more so accurate, a year ago, give or take, that I would be saying Ludwig Kaiser and Chad Gable have been a part of one of my favorite pro wrestling angles in recent memory. But shout out to them. Shout out to AAA. Shout out to WWE, because you genuinely made one of the most unlikely things super duper interesting. I remember when this thing was first going on and we were all having conversations about how stupid this El Grande Americano thing is. And man, they have turned this into something that people genuinely care about, that people genuinely appreciate. And you've made a career in AAA for Ludwig Kaiser. And I think you have restarted Chad Gable's career. Hats off. Hats off, like all the way around. Hats off. That's just freaking awesome. I never would have thought I'd be talking about these two the way I'm talking about these two right now, but I am. And I love that. I love that pro wrestling can do that.
So who or what do we think Ray is referencing, or what's going to come from what Ray said to Gable at the end? Because Ray accepted his apology, but he also said, he's like, hey, I'm not going to judge, but I've been watching you, and you were kind of a dick to people before you put on that mask. So, and then Chad seemed to take that to heart. So is he going to go apologize to the Alpha Academy or what?
I think he's going to go apologize to Alpha Academy. I think he's going to apologize to Otis and Tozawa and Maxine, because when he first started losing his mind after he kept getting beat by Ray, he started treating the Alpha Academy like crap. And then he abandoned them for American Made, right? And started treating them further like crap, and particularly Otis. And so I think you round out this arc for Chad Gable with him apologizing or trying to make good with Alpha Academy. Not that I think you put Gable back with them. I think Gable is good to stand on his own now, but to close out this story, he's got to go back home and he's got to make peace with the people who he originally made war with. And I think that would be a great way to wrap this story up for him.
Maxine's got her eyes on someone else now, though.
Yeah, she's been spotted with Mr. Pressure.
Yeah.
She's spotted with Mr. Pressure, and she's starting to treat Alpha Academy, her brothers, kind of callous and cold.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be an interesting pairing, Maxine in theory. So I hope they don't drop that. I'd at least like to see where it goes and see if it has any legs.
It gives them something to do.
Right.
It gives them something to do, and sometimes that's all you really need. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting that we're talking about all this together, right? Because I genuinely feel like the El Grande Americano thing was just something to do. It was giving Chad something to do, right? And it turned into this. Sometimes that's all it takes is a spark. You know what I mean? And it's like if the tinder's dry enough around, and right now ain't nothing more dry than what's going on with Maxine. Like she had stuff going on, and then it just completely dried up after Natty. And
yeah.
And now you're back hanging around with Otis and Tozawa. It's the Gobi Desert over there. And so, you know, all it may take is a little bit of a spark. And it's like if you get people paying attention to like, oh, what is Maxine doing with Austin Theory? Like it gives Austin a little bit more credibility. It gives her a little bit more credibility. If she's tied with Austin, she's tied in some way with the Vision and what's going on with that, right? That could tangentially be the biggest platform she's been on since her feud with Becky.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could totally listen. I hope they don't drop the ball on that too. I don't see any reason why they would, because ain't nothing going on with Austin outside of the fact that now he is the second leg. He is the second leg of the tag team championships with Braun Breaker. It was different when he was with Logan, but when it's Braun, it's like, dude, Braun's story is not surrounding those tag team championships, and so. Because of that, those tag team championships are going to quickly become an afterthought, which freaking sucks because those tag team championships have been an afterthought. And when you put it on Austin and Logan, my thought was, okay, you know what? At least they'll get some shine. You know what I'm saying? In a storyline that's got some legs. But every time you put something on the Vision, them legs get broke. Somebody gets hurt, and you know what I'm saying? And it's like now Logan is hurt. And now those tag team championships are going to be relegated to the background as, I don't know, set decorations for the story. Because they're not going to get defended a whole lot. Because Braun Breaker's not going to be wrestling a bunch of tag matches with Austin Theory. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Listen, I'm hoping Bronson Reed comes back. We haven't heard anything about this dude in a long time. I'm hoping he is hopefully on the mend, right? And that he comes back and he gets to take the spot that Braun is in. So Braun can go and do something else. And the vision, listen, the vision just needs to go away. Like, the vision just needs to go away at this point. And I'm not even trying to sound funny, but it took way too long for them to come up with a name in the first place. I think that alone in the beginning kind of, slowed the growth of that faction down when it was Seth and Paul and Braun Breaker, right? Then when they brought in Bronson Reed, they still didn't have a name for the longest time. Go back and listen to the previous episodes. Count how many times I was like, they still don't have a freaking name, right?
Yeah.
But then they got a name, The Vision. And almost as quickly as they got a name, Seth gets hurt, right? And then Seth is out. Seth comes back, and then Reed gets hurt. No, I'm sorry. Breaker gets hurt first. And then while Breaker's hurt, Reed gets hurt. Breaker comes back. Reed's still gone. They bring in Logan Paul. Now Logan's hurt. I mean, boy, if that's not a cursed faction, I don't know what is. I want it to stay around long enough so that we can see what happens with Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree, but I don't think Breaker needs it. Paul Heyman is currently, quote unquote, on the shelf. So that just leaves Austin Theory and Breaker don't need it. So I just don't want Austin Theory to go the way of Grayson Waller, which is wild because when Austin Theory was not on TV screen, we had Grayson Waller, and I was here thinking, where's Austin Theory? What's going on with him? Austin Theory's now back. Grayson is nowhere on your television screen. And I want to stay around long enough for maybe they do something with this angle. But once they figure that part out, it doesn't need to be Judgment Day 2. Like, it needs to go ahead and just have a closing arc. They need to dissolve. But
what were you going to say about Ethan Page?
Thank you for reminding me because I sure was about to move on.
Yeah.
So you remember that coworker I was telling you about? I was telling him about how he was talking to me about how he loves heels, right? And I was like, so what kind of heel is it that you really like? And he was like, man, so the type of heel I like is the heel that is he does whatever it takes to win. And he positions himself, these are not his words, but these are my words, but he positions himself as somebody who feels that they are just totally above the fray and almost to a delusional standpoint, right? Overconfident. And they get in the ring and they'll do anything that it takes to win, whether it's cowardly, whether it's dastardly, but they can also go and they can also wrestle, right? And they look the part. And I was thinking about everything that he said, and we started talking about Ric Flair. And I said to myself, dude, I genuinely mean this. If you wanted to find a way back into pro wrestling and you needed a wrestler to attach yourself to try and help you kind of segue into the new stories and stuff like that, you might like Ethan Page. Because Ethan Page does all those things very well. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got the look, he's got the size, he's got his character down to a T, right? He's good in the ring. He's absolutely egotistical. It's in his name. It's in his theme song, right? He is all of these things. And he does cowardly and dastardly things in a way that just reminds me of wrestlers of old who do it really well. And I was like, yo, you should, if you watch, look for Ethan Page. Watch what he's doing. Follow that and let yourself be pulled into that story. And then maybe it'll pull you into other stories as you're watching the programming. And it's a good way to just kind of segue yourself back into pro wrestling for somebody who hasn't watched since the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But I just thinking like, dude, I'm comparing you in a conversation I'm talking to a coworker about with Ric Flair and just how Flair handled himself in those types of matches in the ring and stuff like that. Huge glowing praise from somebody who you know nothing about on a podcast you've never listened to, Ethan Page. But if you are listening, there you go. My hat's off to you, sir. I'm enjoying your work. But Skeeter, let's wrap this up with something we haven't done in a while. Skeeter, what is your takeaway from this week in wrestling? Last week, this week, or anything surrounding it?
So I would say that if you feel like there's a bit of a lull right now, you're not alone. because I kind of feel that way too. We're kind of in this space where we've had a couple weeks of all these four ways for King of the Ring, and like, doesn't feel like anything is advancing. And I don't know if anyone else feels that way. I just wanted to say you're not alone.
Yeah. I think for me, in light of the conversations that you and I have had on podcast episodes that people will never hear, and conversations that I've had at work with people, dude, I have just really been made aware of how much I genuinely love professional wrestling. Like, I just really do love the art form. I heard myself outside of myself talking to my coworker, and for a second, I heard myself and I was like, dude, you really love this. Like, I genuinely believe that professional wrestling is the greatest form of storytelling on the planet. Hands down. I don't think anybody does it better. I don't think anybody is even close. I think that the stories that they tell are akin to the Roman theater without the real violence. It is Shakespeare without a stage. The way that you pull audiences into not just stories when they're done well, but you also get people to participate in a contractual obligation that they've never signed, right? They become part of the programming, they become part of the story. And when you really hit it right, when you really hit the mark, you not only tell a great story, but you hit people in the feels. You change the way that they feel about the product that you put on, and you can override people's desire to want to look at professional wrestling as simply something that is not real, that is fake. And I have not, I don't think I've praised pro wrestling as a whole more than I have this week, just through conversation. And so my takeaway from this week is if you love professional wrestling, I am happy for you. I am so happy for you because I genuinely love professional wrestling. And I hope that you join us on this podcast and that you're listening because you too love professional wrestling. Because I genuinely fucking believe that there's nothing else in the world like it, and I always loved it. I always will. I started watching it like 5 years old, and I have never stopped watching professional wrestling because it is at this point an institution in my life. And so I appreciate all of you for coming and listening to Skeeter and I do this. This is a labor of love. I'd never go into making this podcast with you, brother, with the expectation that somehow we're going to get rich off of this, that somehow we're going to get famous off of this. I don't even know if I even want fame at all, but I enjoy professional wrestling. I get the most pleasure out of getting up here and just talking with you about wrestling. I love getting together and watching wrestling on the weekends. If there's only two people in the chat, that's cool. Welcome, because we're just enjoying pro wrestling together. And so, I appreciate the listeners. I appreciate the viewers. I appreciate you. I appreciate this product. I am just in love with this art. So, Skeeter, please let everyone know where they can tune in because we didn't do this at the top of the episode. We went way
We
off the
didn't, I
script.
guess. Yeah, we
We
did.
went way off script, and you know what? That's cool, man. Because I'm just in a lovey-dovey mood with wrestling this week, and so I just wanted to come in and just love on pro wrestling, and so that's what we did today. But Skeeter, let everybody know where they can come in and hang out in a space with two men who enjoy each other's company, enjoy talking about the art form that they love so much.
The Lariat Lounge, this show, the podcast you're listening to. We're coming at you once a week, every week. You can find us at our home on YouTube. Search the Lariat Lounge. That's where you'll find us. All the episodes for the future, all the past episodes, all the PLE live streams will be there. Any other content we put out, you will find it on YouTube. The podcast still goes up every week in audio format on all your favorite platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your shows. You will find the Lariat Lounge there. You can get your merch over at prowrestlingtees.com/slash the Lariat Lounge. Bunch of great designs up there, including a real good new one that I've got to get my hands on real soon. So go over there, prowrestlingtees.com/the Lariat Lounge. Check us out, get your merch, support us there. We're on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. We're always open to answering DMs. Follow us on there. That way you know when new episodes go up, and when we get on YouTube for our PLE live streams, you'll be notified there. And as always, please fill up that email inbox at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
I just went and verified that the design is up. I did not check my email to get the verification email.
I checked it a little earlier today.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. I just looked at it. I just clicked on it. I love that design. I am going to.
It's great. Yeah, I need to get it.
I'm gonna have to cop that. That's the best
Me
one
too.
so far. Hey, listen, we love you guys. Genuinely, we love you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I am more inclined to have us make more episodes like this, where we are talking about the week of wrestling, and we're also just talking about wrestling. Right? I genuinely love wrestling. I genuinely love talking about it with you, brother. And this is fun. This is what this was always meant to be. And so, and honestly, guys, this podcast was never created to be a weekly recap. Like, this was never meant to be a weekly recap of wrestling. This is just two dudes that love wrestling talking about wrestling. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave us a like rating wherever it is you're listening, wherever it is you're watching. It's a little thing for you, but for us, it genuinely makes a ton of difference. Send us an email. We will read those on air because I want to hear what you guys think about the world of wrestling. Do you feel like we're in a lull right now? Perfectly fair. Do you feel like you are in the great romance of pro wrestling like I am right now? Let us know. We'd love to hear what you guys think. We genuinely do appreciate you guys from the bottom of our hearts. From your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. Please, friends, watch yourself on the way out.